thank you very much. I think there are more people at the dais than in the audience, but it is nice to be here. So I've been told to speak about Atmanirbhar Bharat and Atmanirbhar, not only Bharat, as to what is that we are doing in our industry. So let me first of all set the larger context of road to Atmanirbhar Bharat and what is that we are looking at in our industry. So fundamentally, I always say that from the fundamental level, let us look at the position of our people and the position of our GDP. We are 18% people of the world and surviving on a mere 3.1% of the global GDP, which means that गब्बर बोलता है ना बहुत बेइंसाफी है ये बहुत बेइंसाफी है 18% people surviving on a mere 3.1% GDP. So the way our industry is approaching to make in India is to make sure that we are able to take our fair share from the global GDP. And the fair share is average, mediocre share is 18%, which will make India's GDP to about 17 to 18 trillion dollars. So that's the context and that's the prism with which as industry we are looking at our sector. And when we see the opportunities are also immense, as if the entire cosmos is conspiring to make it happen. The way China costs are increasing, the labor availability is getting down, and also the geopolitical contexts are there. So most of the world is looking out of China to get their goods manufactured. So it's a tremendous opportunity for us. And let me, in this context, talk to you about the electronics sector, that what is the electronics and tech sector. So we are not looking at electronics separately than a tech sector. Electronics and software both are completely combined. And together, they contribute $4 trillion of revenue. And this $4 trillion of revenue is roughly $2 trillion each, roughly, the software and hardware. And put together, this software and hardware, they contribute to about $17 trillion to the global GDP because it multiplies, the multiplier effect of about 4 trillion goes to about $17 trillion. And the valuation of the electronic and tech sector is about $23 trillion, which is about 24% or 25% of the global valuation of all the companies put together. So therefore, this is the most important sector. And how we are looking at it, when we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, when we sat down as an industry forum together, we thought that while Atmanirbhar Bharat is a good thought, but it's still passive. It does not have the passion or action or activeness. So today the opportunity for us is beyond Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is of Paraspar Nirbharta, how we can serve the world in such a manner that the world also must depend upon us and not just, we should depend upon the rest of the world. That is the real Atmanirbhar Bharat in our view as industry when we are, joining together our brains and we are thinking about it as to how we are looking at it. So while the mobile sector is leading the electronics market, and in mobile sector, we are looking at doing 50% of the global mobile production in India by 2033. And we are looking at making this 50% in such a manner that the bottom 50% of the supply chain is actually manufactured in India completely, and in such a manner that the remaining 50% manufacturing which is happening outside of India cannot be competitive without using the bottom supply chain of the Indian manufacturing. With this thought process, we are building the roadmap of the industry. So if you see the roadmap, we've started with the phased manufacturing plan, and with that, from 18,000 crore of mobile production in India, we have gone to 3,00,000 crore of mobile production. After that, when we were very clear that almost every single mobile which is being used in India is produced in India, then how to move forward, we came up with the PLI scheme. But PLI scheme is, I call that an injection, which is, what it is called, the injection which is, I'm just sort of forgetting this word. Not adrenal, something like adrenal, but, which is given for, let me remember that and I'll let you know. So that injection is not good for the body. It will wake you up, but not very great for the body. And steroid, yeah, steroid is the right word. I was looking for that word. I always forget this word. So steroid, PLI is a steroid with which we have started manufacturing and started exporting also to the world. And with that, we have exported about 45,000 crore of mobile last year. This year, we are going to export even more. But that's still the beginning. And from here, the real success is going to come when we are now working on making sure that we are globally competitive on every single parameter of the input which goes into manufacturing. And also looking at this entire business holistically. So last couple of minutes and I'll close, that from the capital which is being used in the manufacturing, to infrastructure, to power, to labor, to water, to logistics, ease of doing business, every single cost we are looking at, and we have benchmarked the costs of China. And with that, now this next level of strategy, we are very sure that we'll be in a position in which, people must have seen this movie Godfather. He says we'll make an offer he can't refuse. And this is the offer we want to make from India, that nobody in the world should be able to refuse. That we'll be the most competitive in the world globally in the bottom 50% supply chain, which is labor-oriented supply chain. With this thought process, we are building this entire industry. And the most critical thing, the last one, is very important, that it's not about only the foreign companies who will be able to come and build the nation. They are very, very critical, very important. They are going to come and they are going to come up with skills and to build the nations. But we are looking at the global companies to come up with their supply chains, the Chinese companies also to come up with their supply chains, but along with that, a fair share of the Indian companies and the supply chains to develop skills, to grow skills in India, and to supply to the global world, so that we are able to take our fair share from the global world. Thank you.